Hi everyone, this is our son David. David is, how old are you?
3.
How old are you?
3.
Say it louder.
I'm 3.
You're 3? Okay, and what's your name?
David.
You're David, okay. And are you allergic to peanuts? Yes. Okay, so David here, my friend, and also my little boy, has a peanut allergy. And basically, what has gone on is that the peanut allergy was diagnosed in and at the office of an allergist, a person trained in that area. Hold on 1 second. Go. Yes. And so, anyway, so the peanut allergy has been diagnosed since he was 6 months to a year old. I can't remember, it was a little while ago when it was officially diagnosed. But it was diagnosed because we thought when he was starting to crawl, we had an apartment with carpet, like most apartments. And he was a lot redder, and the skin was raw and bleeding. And I knew that wasn't normal because this wasn't my first child, this was my second child. So I knew that wasn't normal for that to happen. So me, being a proactive mother and person that I am, decided that was probably not natural. And so I made an appointment for a allergist. Went into the allergist. She, at the time, I was seeing a woman allergist. We have now switched to a different allergist. And for reasons that I might state in another video. But she did a environmental allergy test. And then also she did a food test, because I think it was about the time he was either starting to eat food or already had been eating food, table food. So she wanted to check all the bases and whatnot. So he came back positive for peanut allergy, and he had anyway, so we had an Epi-Pen from that point on. Never had to use it. Was very careful. I am very careful about what he eats and what we have at the table and stuff like that. And then Monday, and I apologize if I get emotional. It's really just it's really difficult for me to talk about. On Monday night, I had bought some bird feeder because the kids and my husband like to fill the bird feeders and then fill them and put them back up and watch the birds come and feed off the bird feeders. And we talk about what kind of birds they are and what colors. It's a wonderful teaching experience. So anyway, so this time was like no other time, no different from other times we've filled the bird feeder. And where Mark has a bird feeder, David has a bird feeder, and even Luke has a bird feeder, our 1-year-old. But Daddy fills Luke's bird feeder. But so then Mark and David fill their own bird feeder, and we put them up and stuff. Anyway, David was filling his bird feeder, and he was finished. And then he came around the corner where I was. I think I was talking on the phone or something like that. And then I heard him crying and screaming and tell me it hurts and to make it stop. And I couldn't tell because we were, you know, it's Minnesota, and so we have lots of mosquitoes around, we have bees, we have flies, horse flies, so I didn't know if he got bit by one of those 3 things, or a stung, or anything, or if he had fallen down and scraped his knee. I wasn't quite sure what was going on. Well, anyway, as he was approaching me, screaming and crying, and as I ran to his rescue, because I'd never heard him scream like that, I started noticing blotches on his face and stuff. So I didn't know what that was, but I knew that wasn't normal. And then he was wheezing, and so I decided, before I was in the middle, I picked up my phone, called 911, and ran into the house with David in my arms and told my husband to find the Epi-Pen because I thought he was having an allergic reaction. I probably would have used Epi-Pen regardless, even if it wasn't an allergic reaction, because I'd never seen that before. So anyway, so he found the Epi-Pen, and if you've ever used Epi-Pen or Epi-Pen Junior, you know you have to stop, read the directions if you haven't used it in a long time, and then administer it in the thigh for 10 seconds. Anyway, we tried to administer it. The pain of the needle scared David and hurt him, and he pulled back, and the needle was, you know, it's got a 10-second delay, so it wasn't retracted back into the unit. And he scraped his leg, the needle, against David's leg, which terrified David because he saw himself bleeding, on top of the fact that he was in so much pain. Well, by this point, we were on the phone with the medic, or whoever, first responder, and they kept telling me to calm down, calm down, calm down. Well, I'm trying to calm down, and it doesn't help when somebody's telling you to calm down. But anyway, so then then the police come, and they said, we can't administer it, but we can walk you through what you need to do. So they walked us through, and I did the second injection, and it was okay, and then the paramedics came, evaluated him, and then I said I need to take him to the hospital. And then they offered to transport him, but I asked if he was okay to drive. I mean, for me to drive him to the hospital, and they said yes, he was cleared to go. And so I left, and they were still there with my husband, so I don't know what happened after that. So I took David to Methodist, and we got in right away. They don't kid around. I mean, ERs don't kid around with any ER doesn't let you wait if you're having a if they think you're having a reaction to an allergy. So they got us back right away, saw us right away, got us a room, ended up admitting David, and then I stayed overnight. I wasn't about to leave my son in a strange place where he didn't know anyone. And so I stayed overnight with him, and then Tuesday afternoon we were released, and that was my very first real episode of a peanut allergy. When I got home, I looked at previous bags of previous bags of bird feed that I had bought, and none of the bags said that they had peanuts. They didn't even have labels or anything. I looked at the last bag I bought. It said it had peanuts, but in very fine print, and probably like the 6th or 5th ingredient down the row. And it didn't have a warning label. So I looked at the law for warning labels, and I read it throughout. It's a pretty heavy document, but in layman's terms, it basically states that for human consumption food, if it's made in a manufacturing plant that also makes food that has common allergens like fish, shellfish, and peanuts and stuff, they'll have a warning label on it. For there is no provision to also add a non-human food. So bird feed, animal feed, any type of animal feed, barnyard feed, anything that you would feed an animal does not have that same provision. So dog food doesn't have that same provision. So I'm really making this video because Senator Amy Klobuchar from Minnesota, Senator Al Franken from Minnesota, and Congressman Keith Ellison from Minnesota, Congressional District 5, which I live in CD5. I'm really hoping that you've watched this video all throughout and you saw my son in the beginning. I almost lost him on Monday. We almost lost our son on Monday. And I could not imagine my life without him. Him and his other two brothers are amazing kids. And when you have professionals saying to you that deal with this on a regular basis, saying they never thought to tell their patients that peanuts could also be found in bird feed, it stands to wonder why there isn't a bill out there to make a provision that all manufacturers of all kinds of foods need to have, if a human is going to touch the food at all, it needs to have that warning. Because I didn't, up until Monday, I didn't know what kind of allergy. I knew it was a peanut allergy, but I didn't know the severity of the allergy. And we now know that at least he has a contact allergy, which means if a person touches the allergen, that person can go into, have some high medical needs. And that's exactly what happened on Monday. If that food label would have had a warning sign, I would have been able to not buy the food. I wouldn't have bought it if there was a big warning sign or anything, or if when I read the ingredients, because I did read the ingredients. I just must have missed it that sometimes they will bold the allergens, so that it's easier for people to direct their eyes to the bold print. I think so I'm asking all three of my representatives to please write a bill to give that same provision to all food manufacturers, regardless if it's for human consumption or animal consumption. It needs to have those warning labels, because peanut allergies and some other allergies can be deadly. And if I had not already known he had a peanut allergy, I would not have had the Epi-Pen. I would have not known what was going on, even though at first I didn't know what was going on, because that was my first witness of this allergy from first-hand experience. I plead with you, Congressman Ellison and Senators Franken and Klobuchar, I beg you, for my family and for millions of families across the United States and hundreds of families in Minnesota and in your constituency. Again, I am one of your constituents. And if you want, I'm going to email this out to all three of you. You're going to have my address, plus a link to this video right here. so you know that I'm one of your constituents, and this is too near and dear to my heart. I don't want to lose my son, and I don't want any other parent to ever have to go through this again. I mean, you know, this is something avoidable that could have been avoided if it was properly marked. Anyway, I think I'm going to let you go before I totally lose it emotionally. And plus, my kids are getting a little rowdy, as you can tell, so I need to go back to being Mrs. Mom instead of Mrs. Advocate. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. If you're law abiding, you know, if you're one of the LAs watching, please call me back, and I'd be more than happy to have you sit down and meet with my family. I'll help you write the bill, but it needs to get into law by the end of next session, because this is long enough that nothing has been done about this situation. And luckily for us, he didn't die, but there was a case, I think, either the same day or within 24 hours of my case happening, there was another little girl that died from peanut issue, but that was food that she ate. But regardless, things need to be labeled correctly, so that we can avoid this pain and suffering that families have to go through. Please join me in writing these two bills, both on the Senate side and the House side. It's very, very important for us as Minnesotans to join together and to fight this. And if Senator West from the state Senate, or Representative Carlson is watching, I don't know if there's anything we can do in the state of Minnesota, but I'd also be interested in talking to either of you about that, because I also believe that the state of Minnesota could benefit from measures being taken for people that suffer from allergies, because it's very disheartening. This is very disheartening. This allergy could have ripped apart my family. Alright, thanks for listening. Have a good day, and please contact me as soon as possible. It is very important to me, and I will I look forward to working with you to write this bill for next session. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.